Crazy world we live in. So HHS Secretary RFK Jr. is making America healthy again by getting to the root of American sickness. And part of that is by calling out liberal media's lies.
One of the big mistakes that you and many other of your media colleagues made during COVID is to try to convince the American people that they should trust the experts. Trusting the experts is not a feature of science. It's not a feature of democracy. It's a feature of religion and totalitarianism. What we should do is trust the science.
The message was to trust the science and what studies were finding and what
during
people were
COVID,
seeing.
That was a bad message. No, it was trust the experts. That's what you kept telling us. Trust the experts.
I don't know that I ever said that. It's just, actually,
your network
during COVID,
was saying it every day.
We took the briefings live every day with all of the experts that brought Dr. Fauci and Dr.
Verse, I can tell you what President Trump did right and what President Biden did wrong.
Joining me now is Dr. Nicole Saphier, Fox News contributor, and my friend. That wasn't in the prompter, I added that. Dr. Saphier, I love having you on. I appreciate you making the time tonight. So we got really close during COVID. We bonded over the insanity that was going on in the country, and we wanted common sense to prevail. It finally has, but it's taken a while. I get what the secretary is saying in this interview, but what we saw during COVID is that sometimes both the experts and the science can be wrong. So who do we trust in that environment?
Well, so first of all, Lisa, and yes, you're my friend as well. But I think it's really important to say that that's the most important thing that we get in this entire message. I think it's really important to say that the experts were wrong, undoubtedly, but science is never actually wrong. Science is just ever evolving. It's not a monolith. And so, especially when it came to COVID, we were getting information by the, not by the day, but by the hour, maybe even by the minute. And it was actually very difficult to report from that. But here's the biggest hiccup that happened during COVID. You had two different things happening. You had people like me who we had no idea what was going on. I mean, initially I was saying, maybe we should be wiping down packages. Maybe we should be staying home. Maybe we should be doing some of these things that the public health experts at the CDC and the NIH and even the WHO were saying. But after a very short amount of time, things started to get a little tricky. It didn't seem like anything was changing, although we were getting more information. We knew it was a coronavirus, which is a respiratory virus, which means that contact transmission, like on packages, is not really a thing. So all of a sudden, maybe I wiped down packages for 48 hours. And then I was like, okay, guys, never mind. We shouldn't be wiping down packages. This doesn't make any sense. But the problem you had, so people like me who have no problem admitting when they're wrong, because let me tell you, I'm wrong a good amount of the time. I mean, that's just what being human is all about. But the good thing about someone who is in the health field, who is a person of science like myself is that as data comes in, as research evolves, we then change our recommendations. And one of the biggest problems or missteps that we saw during the COVID pandemic was that you had these other talking heads or these other so-called experts that even as the data evolved, they did not change their recommendations. I mean, one of the most blatant examples is Rochelle Walensky, former CDC director under President Biden. Before she became CDC director, in emails that she was sending to local school districts before she became the CDC director, when they were asking about spacing with kids and how far apart they should be, she was saying 3 feet's probably enough. Well, as soon as she became CDC director, she just hopped on board with whatever the talking points were, okay, now we're doing 6 feet, and therefore, because the teachers union were so involved in that, so intricately involved, they're like, never mind, kids can't come to school in public school districts because we can't do the 6 feet. So it wasn't about science, it was just about public perception. And then if you fast forward to 2020, go ahead.
Well, yeah, and to your point, there was also, I mean, early on in the pandemic, we had those antibody studies from both Stanford, I think there was one done at Miami University, as well as here in New York, showing us that a broader portion of the population had COVID, which would mean that the fatality rate was much less than what they were telling us, and we still didn't adapt our strategies. Or you can fast forward to the vaccines, and there was a cluster of cases in Provincetown, Massachusetts. I believe it was July of 2021, and 75% of the cases were vaccinated. Yet they still pushed the fact that the vaccines would stop the spread of COVID, despite the CDC being fully aware of these breakthrough cases in Provincetown, Massachusetts. So I think that was our mutual frustration, to your point, is that even when we knew better, they still lied to us. They didn't adjust policy.
Lisa, You have actually become a brilliant journalist throughout COVID, and you absolutely hit the nail on the head. So when we talk about science, we talk about ever-evolving science. Science can be flawed. Research can be flawed, especially when it's produced by the industry. We had a lot of industry-produced science that came out of COVID. The one thing that they continued to do was they continued to not give us the big picture. When they were talking about COVID cases, they certainly were not using seroprevalence data. So they were making things seem more severe morbidity, more severe mortality. They actually were downplaying the negative consequences of the vaccines because they were only studying people in the hospital and not the general population who have all been exposed to COVID. It was a huge problem. It was a lot of flawed science. Make America Healthy Again is a great endeavor in the sense that they are going forward saying we are going to do true science, but I can tell you they need to be careful. They need to make sure that they are fully transparent. They cannot be going with all of their studies on vaccines and herbicides. They have to make sure there's not going in with preconceived notions, and it has to be a complete independent review to regain that public trust, which we so deserve.
And Dr. Saphier, flattery will get you everywhere, so I appreciate the compliment. And before we go, I'll give it back to you. You were one of the, you're one of the godmothers of Make America Healthy Again, and also you were one of the rare voices in the media, trying to bring a lot of this stuff to light, the truth to light during COVID. So I appreciate you, and I'll send the flattery back your way. Dr. Nicole Saphier, great to see you tonight, my friend. Appreciate it.